Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Archon Esports, bringing you another StarCraft 2 1v1 cast. In the bottom right-hand corner of our Shakuris Plateau today, we have our Diamond level player Zerg, who is the red Zerg in the bottom right-hand corner, which is XhO. And then in the top left-hand corner, we have the yellow flavour of Terran, which is .Dash. Awesome. And now, these guys do know each other, or at least I've been told. And I've actually been emailed this game to cast, which is really nice. It's like a little revelation for me to actually not have to search around on the internet for high-level games, but of course I will keep covering high-level games as well. I'm also trying some new video kind of techniques today to try and get you 720p HD. So hopefully that will all work and be really lovely and stuff, and hopefully that's what this will come out as. That's the optimum kind of idea anyway. Cool, and I have had a few kind of suggestions from Reddit, because I recently put up a game on Reddit for people to look at and tell me what they thought I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. And I'm also trying to take on board some of those suggestions, like my microphone level, for example. It got too high and it was popping. So I've had a look at that, and it turns out the gain was actually up a little bit on my microphone level. And it does look like XhO is actually going out to expand here and scout his opponent at the same time, which is a very good idea. It's kind of mindfully expanding, I'd say, and then going to see what .Dash is doing. But he is obviously sealing in just in case there is the risk of our Zerg player XhO doing any sort of six-pull cheese or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, my microphone levels were a bit out, and I've noticed that I was moving the screen about with my cursor a lot like this, and basically it was too rapid, and I actually agree, and I've sustained a tip from somebody how to move my screen properly, as you may be seeing throughout this game. Awesome. Cool beans. We do actually have XhO scouting around in .Dash's base right now, and this Marine being micro in order to deal with the drone. We do also have some scouting down here from .Dash going into XhO's base, making sure there's nothing funny going on, like an early lair or anything like that, but he has expanded, so the chances of an early lair are pretty slim. In fact, we do just have the spawning pool coming up here now from XhO, and he is actually stealing his opponent's extractor, which will basically mean that the Terran will have to go a slightly less techie route. He can't do a 1-1-1 build, also known as the Destiny Cloudburst build. He will in fact probably just have to go at most kind of factory if he's going to do anything quickly. But he does actually have an expansion on the way as well. So both of our players expanding pretty damn early, which I really like, because obviously it pushes it into the mid game, and longer games are better than shorter games, in my opinion. I prefer them anyway. Awesome, so we do have the other expansion for XhO up now, and the Queen coming out as well, which of course is really important for those inject larvae, which, yep, we will go ahead and see right now. So really the economy of XhO is really going to take off in the coming minutes. Unfortunately, .Dash's expansion is a little bit further behind, but being a Terran player, you would expect this in the face of a Zerg player, as Zerg do expand quite a lot quicker usually than Terran players do, and we do see the orbital command coming out now as well. So that will allow him to get the mules, the union of the mule, which keeps the Terran cogs rolling. I mean, only if only the world economy in the real world had mules, I don't think we'd be in the financial crisis or anything like that. That'd be all good. It does also look like .Dash will be actually blocking off this as well, which can be really useful as well, because say if XhO tries to break in with loads and loads of banelings, well, it won't work as well, because the banelings are going to have to hit the supply depots and stuff before they actually go in. You'll lose a couple of banelings, maybe even 3 banelings, before .Dash's forces are actually vulnerable. So back in the base here for XhO, we do actually have a spine crawler up as well, so just to protect himself from a little bit of harassment that might be coming his way. But I mean, XhO scouting is actually fairly good, so I mean, he probably knows exactly what is coming his way. And we do have the Zerglings coming out here as well, just to guard the front door. 2 cool beans. Awesome. Excellent, and a factory on the way for DotDash as well. I mean, because now he is a Terran on 2 base, which can be a very, very dangerous thing indeed, he has the opportunity to use utilize such builds like this, getting a factory out and stuff like that. It really makes it quite a lot easier when you've got 2 bases to really be far more experimental as a Terran player. And Terran armies generally, when they're macroed really well, can be quite dangerous, especially for a Zerg player. Actually, no, that's not fair. I'd say especially for a Protoss player. Protoss can suffer quite badly against Terran if they're not used properly, if the Protoss player doesn't use Psystorms effectively and stuff like that. But we do have melee weapons 1, I suppose, or melee claws 1 on the way for our Zerg player XhO right now, and we do have some banelings on the way, possibly soon, because we do have the arrival of a baneling nest, and we also have the armor +1 out as well. So I mean, despite our Zerg players really kind of seemingly sticking with the kind of tier 1 units, like the Roaches and the Zerglings, he is actually still getting some really, really decent upgrades as well, and his creep spread's actually really good too. Obviously the creep spread is a really integral part of Zerg's play if they want to play well, because obviously it will let their units get quicker and quicker across the map and really increase their mobility somewhat. I mean, these Zerglings are so fast, even off creep, but on creep they are just like Formula 1 cars, man. But we do have a rather large move out here by DotDash. It does look like he'll be going and trying to clear out this brand new expansion that XhO has just put down. So he's going to try and deny that basically. It looks like 3 Marines out here are going to be doing a little bit of a diversion or something, but DotDash does have to be very, very careful about the banelings that are coming up in his rear, because these Marines do not have anywhere to go at the moment. Unfortunately, this does not look good for the Marines at all, because they have very, very few places to go. Oh, and that's at least 7 Marines that will never ever go home to their families solely because of the banelings. Just completely cornering them in this little corner of the map. Nowhere to go for DotDash's Marines. Unfortunately, he had very, very little options actually, because the Zerglings did actually surround the Marines before the banelings got there as well, so it's not really even like DotDash could have done much micro to save his Marines either, unfortunately. We do also have some medevacs here, which we could see leading into some medevac play, and we have a layer on the way for XhO as well, so we could see some Mutalisk play as well, or Infesta play, or any of those lovely second tier units. Awesome. We do have the deployable siege tank mode on the way for DotDash, and I mean, XhO has very, very good tower control at the moment. In fact, I'm going to go as far to say that he has basically got full map control. If we look in his view, sorry, he's moving. If we look in his view, then he can basically see the whole map. And that really, really limits what our Terran player can actually do today. But as I said earlier, we do have some drops on the way here from DotDash, and they do look like they'll be going again to harass this 3rd expansion. Or at least they may have been going to the natural, but they'll probably see that the 3rd is actually coming up, and they'll move in and clear that out, probably. They may also get trapped again by banelings if they're not too careful, but it does look like DotDash is going to put, instead of doing like a kind of direct drop here, he is actually just going to put his Marines on the top of this ledge and perhaps stim and just run down and kill off the hatchery. Many Terran players really like to use stim before they take their units down as well. We do also have 2 more Marines coming out here as, I don't know, I'd say maybe is this some sort of diversionary tactic, but they do look like they were going for the towers at the moment. Maybe DotDash hasn't quite realised how much creep spread his opponent has actually managed to do. It does actually look like this Marine attack might get cleared up, but the hatchery does go down with a little bit of focus firing from DotDash. That was a fairly effective attack actually, seeing as XhO has just essentially lost 300 minerals. DotDash is doing a fairly good job of keeping his opponent low on the mineral count. Well, not low on the mineral count, but low on the expansion count anyway. But the amount of map control that our Zerg player actually has is pretty large. I mean, there are creep tumours absolutely everywhere, and he'll have to DotDash will have to do some pretty good scanning, or maybe even get a Raven to clear out these creeps tumours if that's what he so wants to do. But these Marines here just look like they're going to get dropped to their death completely, being absolutely fed to the Banelings. Unfortunately, the only unit that is going to get away alive from that is the Medevac, and even then she ends up with a few of the Queen's spines lodged in her engines. We do have DotDash here taking another expansion as well. Very good, of course, because, well, you need expansions to win StarCraft. And he does look like he'll be covering these around the general area with siege tanks as well, splitting up his Marines very nicely to avoid Baneling attacks and stuff like that. I'm not actually sure if XhO knows about this expansion yet. Let's just check his view real quick. Yes, he does know about this expansion, so he does know what his opponent is up to, and does know that he does need to take his another expansion now to kind of stay in front a little bit, kind of keep his edge on a tiny bit. Excellent. We do have quite a lot of Ling play from XhO, but we also have the king of all kings. We have Infestor play. If Infestor gets hold of some of these medevacs, it could mean really, really, really bad things for those medevacs indeed. Very, very, very much massing Infestors here from XhO, and I really like Infestors. That fungal growth ability really kicks ass, especially against Terran. It's just like Psystorm, but kind of a bit better because it immobilises the units as well as damaging them quite a large amount as well. It does look like we're going to have another drop coming from DotDash as well. He does seem to like his drops very, very much indeed. And you know what? I like watching his drops. That's good times. And we have a kind of a wall of supply depots coming from DotDash as well. And a little Marine versus Zergling fight here, and the Marine fortunately wins. Well, I don't know. It really depends what way you're looking at it from, but hey, the Marine wins. All right? Excellent. So we do have another attack coming here from DotDash, but I'm not sure if he's actually noticed that there are some spine crawlers in XhO's brand new third base. And it won't be as easy to clear out this time as it has been in the past, so he will have to be very, very careful. But in terms of supply, our Terran is actually quite far ahead at this point in time. That might give him quite a big edge. Now, we do have a big move out here from XhO. Obviously, the fungal growth coming into its own a little bit, allowing the Zerglings to surround the units quite nicely. It makes them obviously static immobile. And we do have siege tanks on the high ground, which is a really nice move too as well, because I don't think that XhO actually has vision of the high grounds, so he's going to be taking a whole lot of siege tank damage if he does move through there. So that is something that he'll have to be kind of careful of. Maybe get some observers, maybe a few overlords in there just to have a quick look about. And he is actually also taking his fourth base, but there is that small detachment of Marines we saw earlier that are going to get taken out by those spine crawlers quite quickly. Luckily for the medevac again, Zerglings cannot jump that high, but that is a whole lot of Zergling. That really is a lot of Zerglings. Again, there's a fungal growth that is actually going to be able to clear out those Marines fairly easily. Cool beans, excellent. So as far as army composition is really going, XhO is really going for mass Ling. He has 132 Lings, which is a crazy amount of Ling. So he's definitely gone the Ling Infestor kind of route. That is plain and obvious to see because we have two ingredients for that. We have Lings and Infestors, hooray! And our Terran opponent slash friend has Marines and siege tanks at the ready here, and of course splitting his Marines up as not to take so much Baneling damage. But XhO doesn't actually have any Banelings on the field yet. Our Terran opponent is actually moving up a little bit here, but he could face a little bit of a disadvantage because, well, not anymore. He would have, because in order for these siege tanks to see any Zerg units, they'd have to come through this brush, but now this tank is here, it should be okay. And there was a really, really nice fungal growth on some SCVs. One can only think that perhaps DotDash was throwing them away because he feels he has too many SCVs, and he does have 87 SCVs, even after that small massacre. So he is just feeding his opponents some SCVs at the moment, so he can get a bigger army size. And of course, armies are somewhat better than SCVs at killing stuff. And here we do have the siege tank on the high ground that looks like some infected Terrans are going to get thrown up onto the high ground for it, and might actually take out the siege tank fairly quickly. No, it doesn't look like they've been able to today, but it looks like they're going to sneak over their fungal growth. Those Marines are actually killing the infested Terrans as well. XhO really desperate to get rid of this siege tank on the high ground, and who can blame him? It was chipping away at his hatchery quite heavily, and it does look like we're going to have a rather large move out here from XhO going into the siege line of DotDash. excellent kind of assault timing from XhO here, seeing as siege tanks were kind of taken from surprise a little bit. No amount of medevac's healing stuff can heal a siege tank, so there's really no need to worry, but he does need to get that top cover here because this siege tank is absolutely ruining his infestors and lings. And we do have, again, the small attack here from XhO. Going, and fungal growthing the SCVs as well. Oh, that's so brutal to watch. Those poor SCVs absolutely getting mashed here from XhO's infestor play. This siege tank still having a wonderful day. 28 kills on him. He has been promoted to commander. Oh, blimey, that was 2 infestors in 1. So, in recap for that battle, I mean, I definitely think that DotDash lost some SCVs, and that's maybe what he wanted anyway. But he might have actually ended up losing more than he would have wanted. It does look like XhO is going to be going up here, and he does have Ultralisks as well on the field now. And now this amazing 39 kill siege tank will get taken out pretty damn quickly as well through the effects of Terrans. And the Ultralisks are just literally running over this Terran base now. I mean, really, XhO has just out-macroed his opponent quite nicely. But our Terran is on 4 base at the moment, and that third base down there is mining very nicely indeed. Goodness me. Awesome. So really, we do have a bit of a tricky situation for these Marines up here as they see the ginormous group of Ultralisks just coming towards them and streaming into their main base quite quickly. One Ultralist does bite the dust, but there's about 5 behind them that will be more than willing to replace them. We do have a medvac as well coming down here and dropping units behind the barracks, just making his army go a little bit that bit further, but as soon as the Ultralists get into the mineral line here, this can only mean bad things for SCVs. Goodbye goes the orbital command. It does look like DotDash will be able to snipe this Ultralisk if XhO isn't careful, but that is not happening today. We do have some Banelings on the way from XhO too, which are a kind of unit that we haven't seen that much of in the mid-game of this game as such at the moment, but I'd definitely say at this point in time XhO really does have the upper hand. Now going for his opponent's 4th base, I suppose it's 3rd now, because the 4th one got kind of owned earlier. And it does actually look like these Ultralisks will be pulling back, because again, they can't jump as high as Lings, they can't jump as high as Medevacs can fly or anything like that. But at the moment it does look like DotDash is in a little bit of the spot of bother, as the Zerg opponent is fully upgraded and just ready to go with these Ultralisks, and Ultralisks are very, very dangerous indeed, and there is some fungal growth going down on top of the army as well, which will take down the Marines very quickly, let alone the Medevacs too. But this could be a what I'm trying to say is I think this game might be ending fairly soon with XhO prevailing. There is a good game, well played from DotDash. Excellent, and a kind of whoa face from XhO. I mean, very, very well played by both players. I really liked the use of drops that DotDash did, especially up here, denying this expansion. Oh, and it looked like it got taken out again, which is I didn't actually see because I was focusing too much on the Ultralisks, like a bit of a numpty. Excellent though, but yeah, thank you very much for sending this in, XhO. Awesome. I hope that you do like the cast even, and I hope that my HD kind of comes out the way that I like and that other people will like and stuff. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this match. I know that I certainly did. I really, really like to see Ultralist play. I believe they're kind of one of these Zerg units that are really, really underrated. I really like them. Really good stuff. So yeah, have a nice day and enjoy playing StarCraft, and I'll see you guys next time.